This is Zanaya.
It's the righteous vigilante Jamar Creek, and you're tuning in to Minds Wide Open.
Hey, yo, check it out. This is Namestream, never mainstream. You're tuning in to Minds Wide Open Media.
Shout out to the Florida Vibe Directory. You're now listening to the best playlist in South Florida.
And welcome back, everybody. This is the Florida Vibe Directory. In today's episode, we got Carissa in the building.
What up, what up? It's me.
So, you know, I remember when we first met, which was actually not too long ago.
Not too long ago at all, yeah.
No, to be real with you.
About a minute ago.
Yeah, to be real with you. And we were quick with it, right? So as soon as you mentioned the... well, I went over there for Izzy's event. Let's start there, right?
Yeah.
So Izzy B, that's who we know in common.
It's our girl.
Right? Yeah. Tell me more about that. Like, what's your relationship with her?
So Izzy and I met at an event for Smirnoff back in August of last year. And she was there supporting her sister, Pee-wee. Pee-wee is a very popular local Miami DJ. And she's worked a lot with the DJ I manage, Sachi. And so I met Izzy, and Izzy had just graduated basically from Tallahassee, FSU. Is it Seminoles? Go Seminoles?
Yeah,
go
Seminoles, yeah.
Go Noles. So she's a hungry DJ in Miami, and she's damn good at what she does.
Yep.
She does open format, and so she was there because she got asked to go to this new spot that's opened up in Brickell. It's a rooftop called Rosa Sky, and actually that night she ended up getting a residency there. So so she's actually there again tonight. We're gonna check her out later. So that's kind of my relationship with Izzy.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, shout out to Izzy B.
Shout out to Izzy B. It's you a real one.
Yep. You got to check her out. She's clean with it. And she knows how to manage the decks. Like, this girl.
She's the next big thing, I'm telling you.
She's got it.
For real.
So, I remember when we first met up on that rooftop, right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh yeah, I managed her and another artist. I'm like, oh, awesome.
Yeah.
So, you know, you recently told me that you came to Miami like fairly recently, actually.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about that.
So I grew up moving around a ton. And so the most recent place I was before Miami was Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Wow.
I graduated from the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and I started a job out there in Minneapolis right after I graduated in 2016. And so I've been with the same IT company for the last 6 years. I'm still working for them. Shout out to Insight Global. That's fam. And so when I moved to Miami, part of the one thing that I really wanted to do is kind of transition into music at some capacity. And so I moved here, kind of tested out the waters. I moved here and stayed with my friend who lives in Davie from January to May.
Wow.
And I was sold. I was between Austin and here. And after those, 5 months of being here, I was like sold.
And Davie is what sold you?
Not Davie. I was coming to my. Okay, all right. Yeah, it was the horses on the street.
The horses. You're like,
yeah, I'm big horse girl over here. I mean, look at this outfit. So I would go to Miami like on the weekends. I'd go to Rum and Bass on Tuesdays. I was like always like bopping between Miami and Davie. It's not that far.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then I officially moved here. I got my own spot August 1st of 2021.
Hell yeah, congrats.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, big moves.
I love it here. Yeah, I hope I never leave.
Yeah. It's an amazing city.
Absolutely.
It's
one of one.
So much to offer.
Yeah, for sure.
You mentioned that you just knew you wanted to get into music.
Yeah.
What inspired that?
So I've been like really big on music like my whole life. It's kind of like my safe place, if you will. So, growing up, like moving around so much, you know, you have to make new friends, and it's not always that easy, but like music is one thing that's always been really consistent. When I got to college, I kind of took that a step further. I started teaching indoor cycling, which translated into me DJing my own classes and live DJing my own classes.
Very cool.
And so that's what I kind of got into, like the selector kind of mindset, and I really, really fell even deeper into love with all different kinds of music. So that's where like the kind of passion and the like light, the fire ignited. But I've always been a big music girl. So so then I decided when I moved here that I was gonna pursue it at some capacity. I didn't want to DJ again. I wanted to be more on the business side to kind of make a career out of it for me personally.
Okay.
And so an opportunity kind of fell in my lap when I first moved here at that same Smirnoff event back in August. Sachi needed a manager, Sachi Sounds. And I said I would do it. I'd take it on. And, as long as she was willing to work with me, someone who doesn't have much experience. But I have a friend who manages, some pretty big name DJs, and he agreed to be my mentor. So I felt confident with his help that I would be able to, take on the job and do it well. So here I am.
It's quite a journey.
Yeah. So we're doing big things. It was when I first started off, we didn't really know what it was going to look like. But we've kind of found our groove since, I would say we really hit our stride at the beginning of this year.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
So you said that you met Sachi and you're like, yo, I need a manager. How did you guys meet to begin with?
So we have a mutual friend who I went to college with. Her name's Sophie. She used to be the event coordinator at Basement in the Edition.
Okay.
And so she used to book Sachi back in the day before she moved back to LA.
Word.
So when I was here for my birthday in April last year, Sophie, my friend, introduced me to Sachi, and we hit it off immediately. So when I moved back here, she hit me up, I would hit her up. She invited me to a couple of events. And then it was really the Smirnoff event where she opened for Chantel Jeffries, that she was like, I need a manager. And I was like, oh, well, I really want to manage. So, take a chance on me, maybe. So and it all ended up working out.
And how do you feel managing has gone for you so far?
I am super passionate about it. It doesn't feel like work to me. I love going and supporting my friends. And so it just makes it that much easier that she's one of my closest friends. I love her to death. I just want to see her succeed. I know she's got it. She's got that it factor. And so I just believe in her so much that it's made it kind of easy to just kind of figure it out and put in the time and the work to do my best and navigate this whole management thing the way I'm gonna do it. So yeah.
Oh wow, very cool.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people would be very scared to do something like that.
Oh,
just immediately,
Yeah, you feel kind of like you have imposter syndrome a little bit. You're like, wait, why? Do I have the credentials to do this? I don't think so, but it really helped. What I had mentioned, my friend, his name is Paul Campbell. He is very involved in the music scene. He agreed to mentor me. We sat down for 3 hours, and he was laid it all out for me, and he was like, here's the framework. And I was like, okay, noted. And so that was super helpful for me in the beginning to kind of figure out how to elevate her and, get her on the right track to meet her goals. So, yeah.
So what does that look like between you two? Either you and Izzy or you and Sachi, do you guys always talk about, okay, where do you want to be? What are you trying to achieve?
Yeah, so Izzy and I started working together more recently, so we haven't had as many conversations about this kind of stuff. But Sachi and I, we have brainstorming sessions. We had a couple of weeks ago, we sat down in her living room. We had poster board, we had whiteboards, and we're like, all right, what do we want to accomplish this year? At the end of this year, when we look back, what will success look like and how do we measure that? So there are a couple of things that we kind of put out there. Some of them were different cities we thought that would be cool for her to perform in. Some venues that we were going to target here. Things along those lines.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, we're in cahoots all the time. I talk to her on the phone it's my day job. But
cool.
yeah, so, but she's fun to talk to, so. It's always
so it makes it enjoyable.
Yeah, exactly.
That's incredible. That's really good to have. When you have a working and nice relationship with the person you're working with, obviously.
Oh, for sure.
It makes it much more manageable.
Yeah, she cracks me up, so it's a good time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You mentioned Paul Campbell.
Yeah.
Your mentor.
Yeah.
How did you meet him?
So Paul and I. Oh, this is funny. Around April this past year, I was at Dare Day Club to see Gordo, or otherwise known as Carnage.
Yep.
And Gordo was headlining, and me and my friend were in the front and center table, and we were dancing it was nobody's business. It was about to rain, and no one was dancing except for us. We were going crazy, and all of a sudden I see some guy go point at me, my friend, and do the little eye thing, with two fingers, and we were like, us? Are you talking to us? And he was like, yes. He's like, and I was like, oh, okay. So we go in the back, and he was like, what are your guys' names? And I was like, Kayla, Carissa. He's like, you guys are lit out there. And I was like, I know that's right. And so then we exchanged contact information. I told him I was moving here in the summer after I went back to New York for a little bit. And as soon as I touched down, he was like, what are you doing? I'm ready to go. Like, let's have an evening. So we went out together with a couple of my friends that I know from Miami from my IT job, and we had a great time. He took us to Space. He's part owner of Club Space, so
Nice.
he had a bougie little experience for us. We got the grilled cheese at Space is the best grilled cheese I've ever had.
Fire.
So that was my first time having it. So
Wow.
yeah, so it's kind of how I met Paul. And like, he's really just kind of shown me the scene and, you know, given me some guidance from an industry perspective too, as well. But mostly just my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really important and like just an amazing connection to have.
Yeah.
It sounds like the universe is really doing you a solid on that one.
Yeah,
It's like,
he's-
y'all are destined to meet. Like, you
Yeah,
gotta
he's
meet.
the best. I'm so grateful to know him and have had cross paths with him at a Gordo show of all places. So
So when it comes to networking,
Yeah.
do you feel like that comes easy to you?
yeah, so I'd say because I moved around so many times, I was constantly having to make new friends, right? So, you know, I grew up in places like Tokyo and Ireland where like cultures are very different, and I've had to navigate like finding my people or like a support system in every place I've moved to, and I think because of that, like that was instilled in me at such a young age, that it kind of just comes naturally to me. Like I have no shame in walking up to someone and just being like, hey, like, what's your name? You know? And I think it's all part of the human experience. I think I thrive on meeting people. Like I get energy from other people.
Yeah.
People will tell you that like I'm pretty like outgoing and energetic. Like
Yep.
can be a lot sometimes, but I feed off other people. It's truly so. I'm not like that when I'm alone. Like just silence.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, for me, sometimes that could be just not. I feel you completely.
Yeah.
Having to talk to people, that's like my bread and butter. I just
Yeah.
love doing that. It feeds
Same.
me.
Yeah.
So it's just the thought of just being silent in a room all the time. That's
Yeah.
a little bit much.
Everyone's got a different story. I love hearing people's stories and learning about everyone's, you know, respective experience. So it's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you mentioned you had to travel a lot and grew up in different places.
Yeah.
What was the cause of that?
My dad's job, he wasn't in the military or anything. People always ask, like, first thing, are you an Army brat? I'm like, no, my dad was in finance. So my dad worked for a company called GE, and that took us overseas. So before that, he was working for a company called PricewaterhouseCoopers. I was in New York, Connecticut, Wisconsin, all before the age of 5. And then we moved to Tokyo and then Ireland. And then I was back in New Jersey for high school. Went to college, University of Wisconsin-Madison. Was there for 4 years. When I graduated, I moved to Minneapolis. And then at the beginning of this year, I moved to Miami.
Wow.
Davie, Miami.
Davie.
Yeah, then Miami. So,
I find it hilarious that Davie was your starting point.
yeah.
out of all the places.
That's Broward, right?
Yeah, it's
we
totally
love Broward.
Yep.
Yeah. Dang.
So do you feel like you're definitely going to set roots now?
Oh,
here in
absolutely.
Miami?
So I always get the question, like, where's home? And like, I always default to like New York or New Jersey because that's where my family is.
Right.
But this is the first place that I've ever lived. And I feel like I've found my footing and like my groove, and it feels what I assume other people like perceive home to be.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And is there any particular reason?
You know, I like have been trying to pinpoint this myself and figure this out. I do have family here, so my aunt lives up in West Palm Beach. I had a lot of friends here. My godchildren are in Davie. I've made so many friends so easily that like have treated me like family from like the get-go. So I think that has something to do with it for sure. Also, I think I was like supposed to be in a warmer climate because negative 40 just made me like a different person. I really feel like I've come into my own since I've been able to see the sun every day.
Yeah.
Or most days, I should say, as opposed to it being like dark when you wake up, dark when you get home from work, and too cold to go outside.
Depressing.
Yeah, it sucks. So this has been a good change of pace for me.
That's
I feel better, like more like myself, and more energized for sure.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
You mentioned being, because you're in the music industry and you're networking, you're probably gonna have to go out a lot.
Yeah.
Right? Do you find yourself having to like make time to go out?
Yeah, so I mean, after my day job, my big girl job, I tend to go to events to support Sachi, Izzy, some of my other friends that are in the industry, because I think it's super important to show some love for your friends, whether you're working with them directly or not. It's something that I'm really big on. So I try to show face at certain events, and that tends to add up, especially when I wake up at 6 a.m. every morning, go work out, start my job by 7:30, wrap up by like 5, 6. I tried to, and then have to go to an event, and then getting home late and then doing it all over again the next day. It can be a lot. So it's still something I'm working on to figure out. But I think the most important thing for me, like, to stay like level-headed and, not get super tired and like burn myself out, is I'm consistent about like working out every morning. I think that's super important to like get some natural energy in you. I eat pretty well, and then it kind of gives you it tees you up to be able to do things that if you weren't taking care of yourself, that you might not be able to
handle.
Do. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I also don't really drink when I go out. Like, I'll have a glass of wine, but like, unless it's like the weekend and I'm going to enjoy myself and not going for like a work thing, then I'm not partaking in any tomfoolery.
That's good to know.
Yeah, it's a secret.
I think the tomfoolery is the main thing.
Yeah.
That can drain you.
It gets tricky. Yeah. And I have a lot of friends that are, have struggled with that piece of it, whether they're DJs or they are doing the same thing as me, or at some capacity working within nightlife. And I've seen what it does to people. And I think it's just about taking care of yourself and knowing what you can handle personally and not following everyone else's lead, because your day, the next day, and your overall experience is not going to look like the person next to you. Yeah. So some of us are built different. And I used to be able to hang. I am not built like I used to be. College Carissa could have done this and like kept going with no breaks.
Right.
Now I need sleep. Like, I had a rough last 2 weeks. I just had a lot going on. Some big events for Sachi. We did this Valentine's Day party. I just got her booked for Saturday for Alessandra Ambrosio. So like, there's a lot of stuff in the pipeline that has kept me like busy. And so on Tuesday this week, I was like, wow, I can barely string sentences together. Wow. So I was like, I need to prioritize sleep. So last night, I finally got around to hitting the hay really early, getting to bed. I tucked myself in around like 9. I was like, I gotta be in bed now, so at least I fall asleep by like 11.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I gotta make it a priority, but again, something I'm working on.
Word.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the music industry can take precedence over putting yourself first?
So yeah, I mean, I'm super passionate about it. It's like something I like love so much that like I think it inevitably becomes like a priority, whether I'm actually prioritizing it or not, because it's something I feel so strongly about and I care so much about. So yeah, I could take the backseat. Like, there are days I don't work out in the morning and I'm like, damn, I shouldn't have gone at that late last night. But when the music's good, it's hard to leave. I just want to move my feet. So
completely agree.
Yeah.
Yep. And especially at places like Space where you can get
oh
lost
God,
for
don't get me started.
hours.
Thank God that place isn't open on like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, because it'd be game over.
Agreed.
You lose track of yourself and time when you're in that spot.
Yeah. So what do you feel is going to be next for you when it comes to making moves in the music industry? Yeah,
so that's a great question. I actually just started a new role part-time, working for a confession label. So I reached out to this DJ, Damaged Goods. His government name is Obi. He was performing at Space, and so he played a bunch of Nitty Gritty's songs. It's like 8 of Nitty Gritty's songs. So that's who Paul Campbell, who we were talking about before, he manages Nitty Gritty. And so I sent Paul the videos. I was like, Ricky for mayor, Nitty Gritty for mayor of space. And he started laughing. And then I guess Ricky reached out to Obi and was like saying something about, thanks for supporting my tunes or something like that. And so he DM'd me, then Damaged Goods Obi DM me, and we arranged to meet at Sachi's happy hour because he also knows Sachi. So yeah, so like very small, like
small world.
Yeah, and so he started talking about this opportunity, and I was like living for it because this is exactly what I wanted, like a door to open for me like that, so that I could get more experience within the business of music and understanding like how labels work and stuff like that. So it's for Chami's label, Confession label.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I just started this week officially on Monday. So I've been doing stuff like contracts and like, getting art for, tracks that are released and things like that. So it's very new. So, but I'm super excited about it. Obi's great. So he's also kind of becoming a little bit of a mentor to me as well. So
that's... it sounds like you're surrounding yourself with all the right people.
It's funny. It's like I'm not really like seeking it out, like, but I don't know. The universe has a weird way of like, if you go to manifest something, and you really believe in yourself and you work hard, I think that the chips kind of fall where they
fall.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
It's many blessings. They just kind of come as soon as you're on the right path.
Yeah. I feel very fortunate and very lucky to know a lot of the people that I do know.
That's wonderful.
On a personal and professional level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I remember you telling me the story of how you actually ended up landing the job with the record label. Did any of your connections help in kind of making that happen?
Yeah. So a funny story. Obi called before he like officially like offered me the job. He called Paul. Hit up Paul Campbell, who is in Thailand right now, and said, hey, like, what's this girl Carissa about? Like, blah, blah, blah. And Paul vouched for me and said, she's good for it. And so he gave me the green light. And, that's that. Yeah, then it was all said and done.
That's badass.
Yeah.
Could you see this potentially one day being your main job?
I would love for it to be, my experience so far, I mean, I started on Monday,
right?
But it's definitely in the same vein of like what I'm interested in pursuing. So yeah, if a full-time opportunity came up and it made sense logistically, I'd be all on board.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
When it comes to managing your artists, right? Where do you see Sachi going? Like, what plans do you have for Sachi?
Yeah. So with Sachi, I feel like it's like unlimited potential. She's the whole package. She's got the music selections are A1. She's beautiful. She has a look like an aesthetic, a vibe that she puts into the world and that people really enjoy. And the girl is hilarious. Like, I'm telling you, I've never laughed so hard. Sometimes when she calls me, I'm in tears. So she's really, really well-rounded, and she's driven, and she's super passionate about the music. So I see really big things happening for her. We've talked about her going to like writing camps to do some more production, like producing music, and get into that as well, like in the future, like down the road. We've also talked about like, hey, we want to do a festival this year. So if anyone listening, you
got a festival.
Yeah, if you got a festival,
you need it.
You know where to find me.
Yep.
So want to do that. There's a couple different cities where I know people who run venues just from like moving around a lot. So we want to hit certain cities. And then just kind of, we want to do like almost like a sacrifice tour where when you're first getting started out, you need to get like tour dates out there to get your name out there. And so hitting these cities where we know people, and then, making sure that people know we're in town, and yeah, getting like content out of that and stuff like that to market her to other audiences that we don't get just because of location restrictions. So
Wow.
yeah.
So this sounds like it could be a very big job to be just yourself managing, you know? Do you
Yeah.
feel like you've had to expand your team at some point, or?
There are things I think coming down the line that we're going to need help with. Like, I'm not an accountant, and I'm not, when I do math, the math ain't mathin' right. So we're probably going to need someone to, do invoices, because that is not my strong suit.
Gotcha.
But everything else, for the most part, I've been able to handle on my own. She's really good. She's on top of her stuff too. So there's a lot of things that she just takes care of right away. And I don't even have to worry about it. But I'm copied on everything.
I see.
But so she makes it easy for me, because I do have a full-time job still. So she tries to alleviate some of the burden too of that, which is super helpful. But I do as much as I can. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when it comes to capturing media, how do you go about that?
Yeah, so I try to show up to everything. I mean, even just before, she has a happy hour at 1-800-LUCKY every Thursday called Sachi Hour from 5 to 8. And so I knew I was cutting it close to get here. So I was like, but I show up every Thursday to get, at least one video or something. So I try to, take as much... to take as many videos and photos of her while I'm at her events, and I go to mostly everything. But also, we have so many friends that we're connected with that are videographers and photographers. I had one of my friends just show up last Thursday and just start filming and taking photos of her. I was like, thank you so much.
Yeah.
He's like, all for free. I was like, that's awesome. Thank
That's
you.
love right
no,
there.
right. No. So people really are showing up and showing out for her. So I don't know. It's cool.
That's big.
Yeah.
That's really big.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're really building that fan base,
Yeah.
to be a
Yeah.
foundation.
It was funny. She was in a car, I think, a couple nights ago for a Dawn to 2 after party. She opened
Word.
for Theophilus London at La Otra, and she's pulling out, and she rolled down her window, and some girl came up to her like, "Are you Sachi?" And she goes, "That's me," all stuff, and it was super funny. But yeah, she's got some fans out there. She got
Hell yeah.
a lot of fangirls for her. So
That's phenomenal.
yeah, we love it.
And how long has she been DJing?
A while now. I don't know what year to be exact, so I don't want to say the wrong thing, but it's been a minute. So
Cool.
yeah.
I think we definitely got to get her on this podcast.
Oh, for
You
sure.
know,
She would have you in tears. Like your stomach would hurt. You'd be laughing so hard. She's wonderful. Yeah.
So you're building this amazing base here in Miami.
Yeah.
What city do you feel like you can get into next and really start making these valuable connections?
Yeah, for sure. That's a great question. So obviously I'm from New York, so I've got a lot of friends in the nightlife scene over there. So I feel like that's an easy avenue for us. My friend Sophie, who introduced me in Sachi, who I brought up earlier that I went to college with, she runs a couple of higher end establishments in LA. So
Nice.
that's another possibility. And then the third place I'd say is Chicago. One of my closest friends from college, his name is Justin Diox, DJ Diox.
Gotcha.
He's been DJing since I've known him over 10 years ago. And he has a residency at Tao in Chicago. So he DJs there every Friday night. And so he's met so many people in the industry over there. And so we've talked about, maybe even switching time slots, having her go out there, he goes here, something along
A little
that.
bit of an exchange going
Yeah,
on.
exactly. A swap.
Yeah.
Yeah, like wife swap, but DJ swap.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I think these are the creative avenues people don't think happen behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Right, with management.
Right.
Hey, I will swap out some slots here at this club
Yeah.
with you if you can connect me over there.
Yeah.
And build that base.
Exactly. Yeah, it happens a lot more often than you'd think in the industry. So it's kind of common practice. But yeah, you're right. I don't think people really know that. Yeah.
So when it comes to managing people, could you see yourself managing more DJs, or do you feel like two is quite a handful right now?
So for right now, with my full-time job, and then the part-time job at the label, I think two's a good number for me. I had a couple people hit me up last week about potentially working with them, but as much as I'm gonna help them, I felt like I'd be spreading myself too thin and not be able to do a good job for each artist if I took on anyone else right now, like on a professional permanent basis or committing. Like I wouldn't be able to commit.
Right.
So to do I wouldn't be able to do my best work. So
Gotcha.
two is a good number for me right now.
That's like the peak right now.
Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah.
Really
I feel
good
confident that
performance.
I can do well at my job if I have to. But any more that I would take on right now, especially with my 9 to 5 or my 7:30 to 5, really,
Right.
it'd be too much.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually quite a lot to manage. I mean, I'm well recognized with Inside Global as well. And that can be that's a work hard, play hard environment.
Oh, you know it. Don't you know it? It is the work hardest, play hardest environment. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah. So, do you feel like those same principles you mentioned about staying consistent are just up in the music industry and being able to go out, apply to being able to just go throughout your entire day?
It's
you
hard.
know?
Yeah. So I talk on the phone all day. A lot of my job is, talking and meetings, Zoom calls, Microsoft Teams calls. So I never hear myself I'm just it's yada, 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 yada. And I'm always I'm always engaging with someone at some capacity throughout my day. So it's kind of nice when I get to go and listen to live music. Sachi's DJing, right? I'm just sitting there kicking back, just grooving along, getting some content. And, I don't have to hear myself talk anymore and I can just listen to music. And so it kind of re-energizes me in a way.
Okay.
So yeah, because I don't know, I work I work at my full-time job to be able to kind of do this. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and eventually, I do want to do the music full time, but the right opportunity has to present itself. It'd be hard to walk away from Insight Global because they've been so good to me over the years. So.
Yeah, it's a great company.
I feel like not many people can say in this day and age, especially the millennials and Gen Z, that they've stuck with the same job since they graduated from undergrad. I've been there for 6 years.
Wow.
So yeah,
That's crazy.
I've never had another big girl job.
That's wild.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, shout out. That's huge.
Yeah. So, I feel like everyone always thinks the grass is greener on the other side, but they've been so good to me and put up with me for that long. I mean, I owe it to them.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's great when you have a company being able to contribute to your growth.
Yeah.
And then from there learn so much and then apply it to other areas of your life.
For sure. No, they really hone in on every employee's personal, professional, and financial growth throughout their time with the company. So they really invest in us.
Do you do sales for them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the skills you learned in sales have applied to the music industry?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I feel like if I were to just have come out of college and tried to do some of this music stuff without having ever worked for Insight Global, it would have been a nightmare because I've definitely become more polished version of myself. I would have been like a space cadet, just no one would have taken me seriously. And I'm still goofy, don't get me wrong, but I've refined that version of myself because of a lot of the professional development I got from Insight Global.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
I owe it to them. Yeah.
Okay. So for anyone trying to get into the music industry, what advice would you give them?
So I think you got to look into your network first. I think there's always people that you kind of forget about. They slip to the back of your mind, and collaborating with people, making sure you're supporting people, whether that's artists, whether that's your photographer friends, whether that's anyone honestly in nightlife, and making sure you're showing love for them and showing up to these events so that you'll eventually meet the right people. And if you're showing support for them, then oftentimes the favors get returned tenfold. So that's one piece of advice. And then just stay with it. I was in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I wanted to be doing this so badly, and it just wasn't the place. So I committed to myself I was going to get out of Minneapolis and move to Miami, where I would eventually try to pursue something. And you just gotta stick with it. I feel like with anything you really want to do, you just gotta keep trying, like even if it's not panning out right away. Like I didn't move here in day one and like Sachi was like an artist I was managing. It was a little bit before I, took that on, and we kind of figured out that we needed each other.
Yeah.
So
It was mutual.
yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Yeah.
So really put yourself out there, take the risk, and
Yeah.
see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's great advice for anyone trying to start up, because a lot of people get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't know what to do, so I'm just not going to do anything.
Right. That's like avoidance anxiety. And I used to operate kind of like that, where like it's so overwhelming. Like you're like, I don't even know where to begin. Like I don't like, where do I go? Like, put me in, coach, but like I'm not sure if I want to, leave the bench, So I think, taking risk and, putting yourself out there is super important, and, just sticking with it.
No, okay.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to being in the music industry, even in sales, do you feel like being a woman in these industries has like impacted your success in any way, or maybe even made it better?
So in the sales, like IT sales kind of realm, I would say that people are often like impressed when I know what I'm talking about as a woman. Whereas when my male counterparts have been on meetings with me, like they are like just, like they expect that out of them. Whereas for me, it's like, oh, wow, you know what you're talking about. So I feel like I come in as the underdog in that situation and can kind of, which kind of sucks, but it's also like, all right, I know my worth, going into these situations, but, don't underestimate me just because I'm a woman. And then in music, it's a very male dominated industry. So, I mean, for the DJ circuits here, I feel like a lot of the women get booked for like the Valentine's Day parties, ladies night, like all this stuff. And they kind of get pigeonholed into some of these events. So, I mean, for Sachi, like I'm so proud of her because she's, done, a lot more than that. Granted, we did just do the Valentine's Day party at Sushi Fly. But I mean, she did Diddy's house for New Year's. Like that was huge. That was a boys club. Like it was a lot of powerful men in that room, like from Kanye West, French Montana, Busta Rhymes, Sway Lee, like Diddy, the Christian Combs, Quincy.
Big names.
Yeah, like Mary J. Blige was there, but like she was like one of the only like power females like that was there, and Sachi was right there with her. Like,
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, it was very empowering.
Yeah, for sure.
Very cool. So do you think it was kind of a struggle to get into those areas, or did you just have to play your cards right?
So I think it's her.
Okay.
Her personality, just everyone loves her. When you meet her, like to know her is to love her. So her Diddy's managers met her and booked her for an event previously. So then when they were trying to figure out the New Year's thing, they were like, oh yeah, that Sachi girl was good. Yeah. So they, requested that she made an appearance, and she ended up DJing from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
A full 12-hour marathon.
Yeah, it was crazy. She had London on the track emceeing for her at a point in time. It was so cool.
Yo, that's crazy.
Yeah. They're like playing "Pass Me the Hookah." Yeah, and he was like, "Woo, woo, woo."
That's funny.
Yeah.
So where do you think, we've talked about your experience in the music industry. We talked about like how you want to be in Miami and just grow from here.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you feel you want to tell people out there, like that you just got on your mind, or just
from like a advice standpoint, like kind of, believe in yourself, the same thing that everyone else will tell you, like, but it's true, like. When you have like that imposter syndrome feeling and you're just getting started out, you're like, I don't really know. Do I know what I'm doing? And you might not, but like just believe that you're gonna figure it out. Like, and if you have faith like in yourself, and then like if you're working with other artists and you truly believe in that product and that service that DJ, like for example, is providing, then you'll be golden as long as you continue to work hard and pursue your dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great advice.
Yeah.
When it came to like business that you've gotten into, have you ever encountered the distasteful side of music?
Yes. I'm trying to think of an example. it's always hard when it comes to like rate negotiation.
Okay.
So a lot of these bigger, I'm not going to name names, but a lot of these bigger establishments in Miami are lowballing some DJs
Gotcha.
that should know that are like of much higher worth than what they're offering. And so it kind of becomes a little distasteful when they're telling you like what your artist or
Worth.
DJ is, your worth is, and we're setting expectations at a much higher bar, and then them kind of like knocking down. I've seen like them try to like be like, well, she only blah 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 like does this, or like it's silly. So that's kind of been like a little tough because it's like no, I know what she's worth. Like hell, Diddy knows what she's worth. Like let's talk about it, and circle back when you talk to your people about figuring out the budget. So that's like the best example that I have. But there's I mean, it just comes with industry and like kind of being a woman too. I mean, I feel like sometimes I don't get taken as seriously until I kind of show that I'm business savvy and I know what I'm talking about. So in the beginning, that was probably like not the best because I didn't know what I was talking about. So, but now I feel a lot more confident in my abilities to have those conversations.
That's great.
Yeah.
I think that ties right back into what you were saying earlier of just believe in yourself.
Yeah, believe in yourself.
Yeah. Just believe that you can do this rate negotiation, and you can.
And say it with confidence. Say it with your chest.
Say it with your chest, like Kevin Hart says.
Exactly.
Say it with your chest.
Yeah.
It's the truth. You really do got to be out here and be confident in what you're putting out. Hell yeah. And what do you feel like is next for Izzy B?
Izzy. Okay, so Izzy's got a big old career ahead of her. I don't know if you know this, but she also does vocals. And so
Really?
Yeah, she's got a voice on her. So she's got untapped potential. Like she could go like vocals route, like singing. She also is open format, which I feel like she's truly open format and hasn't really pigeonholed herself into any specific genre, which is dope because when she goes to a place, she can just match the vibe. And there's no really expectations of what like genre of music she's going to play, which gives her more like creative freedom. I feel. So that's super cool. She's so much fun too. And she's the life of the party. So
Definitely.
Yeah, she just got booked out in Tallahassee, so she went back to her college town last week, and I was looking at videos, and then all of a sudden I get a Snapchat from my cousin, and they were like, "Is this the DJ you manage?" And it's literally like packed, like Izzy's all the way in the back. It looked like an arena. I have no idea what this place was. Maybe like Potbelly or something like that.
Potbellies.
I've never been. I don't know. I've never been to Tallahassee as a whole, but it looked insane. I was like, wait, this is what Tally's all about? That's crazy. But anyway, my cousin, like, it was so small world. Like, I was like, did you introduce yourself? And he didn't respond to me. I was like, all right, he ghosted me, my own cousin. I texted Izzy. I was like, yo, did my cousin Max by any chance introduce himself to you? She's like, no, why? I go, oh, and I sent her the screenshot I took from his Snapchat. And she was like, no way.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
That is so funny.
Super funny.
When I had Izzy B on the podcast, she mentioned she sang, but only like a little bit.
Her songs are good. I was showing them to someone today.
Wow.
There's 2 of them that I have saved on Spotify that are really good. She made, I think, with some local producers here. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure there were 2 local guys that she partnered up with to make that.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Could you see Izzy one day maybe producing her own songs?
Oh, absolutely.
Voice and
if she wants to do it, I believe in her. Like she's like the full package too. Like she's motivated, she's hungry, she's young, she's fun, she's a little bit loca. So yeah, I believe in whatever that girl wants to do. Like if that's production, then yeah, she could do it.
Badass.
Yeah.
That is great. You fully believe in your team. It sounds like.
Oh, absolutely.
You're there.
Yeah.
That's great.
Those are my girls.
Yeah.
For life, 4L.
Well, where can the people find you? Like if they wanted to follow you on Instagram or YouTube.
Yeah. So my Instagram is not.your, YOUR, Szlo. So CEESZLO. That's my nickname. My friends call me CeeSlo. It actually started with my dad. He called me CeeSlo Green back when CeeLo Green came out with, you see you running downtown with the girl I love. And I'm like, yeah, that's the one. So he discovered CeeLo Green. He's like, CeeLo Green, CeeSlo Green. So we cut off the green part and it just became CeeSlo. And so my friends have been calling me that since undergrad, maybe even a little bit before in high school. Yeah.
You just stuck.
So not your CeeSlo. That's me.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And are there any final remarks you'd like to make?
No, I appreciate you having me. And go check out Izzy and Sachi, 1-800-LUCKY, Rosa's Sky Lounge. They're all over the place.
We're going to definitely link their bios or their handles.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, that'd be great.
So that way we can get them.
You know where to find them.
So for sure. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yes,
it was a pleasure.
It's been a wonderful conversation.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Definitely. And if you guys liked what you heard here today, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will catch you on the next one.
Hey, I know that's right.
Peace out. And that's that.
That was so fun.
Yeah, right?
Oh my God, that was great. Thanks so much. You're a great interviewer.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's taking some practice.
No, for sure. Like, I would have been like, oh God, what do I ask next? Like, that would have been like 300 questions in my head. Like,